Hey, yo, Pro Wrestling Podcast listeners, welcome to the show where we don't sing it, we bring it. Help us out and click subscribe to show your support. Make sure you follow us on our Discord community. Make sure you enable notifications. Click the bell if you're a YouTube user. And we are the official podcast of www.tsj101sports.com. They are the location for your latest news on wrestling, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, you name it, even collegiate sports. Check them out at www.tsj101sports.com. Are you sick and tired of dropping $60 to $100 for the latest and greatest wrestling video game? Stop immediately. Go to Wrestler Unstoppable, available exclusively through Facebook. Create a wrestler, sign contracts, get involved in storylines, headline pay-per-views, even build your own corporation, all included in Wrestler Unstoppable, available now to all Facebook users, totally free. If you want to become a member of the Pro Wrestling Podcast family, you want your name in the shoutouts, check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Fro Wrestling Podcast and sign up today. Don't forget, we got loyalty rewards. Any $15 a month contributor gets to co-host an episode of one of our live shows, and our $7.50 a month contributors, you get entered into a drawing for the opportunity to also co-host an episode of one of our live shows. So, welcome to this episode of the Pro Wrestling Podcast. We got a lot of things to get to. We are headed into Royal Rumble weekend, and there are lots of things to talk about. If you are new to the Pro Wrestling Podcast, you want to check out the things, the topics, the discussions coming to the show, make sure you go to our homepage at frowrestling.com where you can preview all the topics. Hey, maybe it helps you come up with some questions, and we would love for you to be a part of the show. So you can call in to the Pro Wrestling Sound Off line at 267-642-1160 where you can give us feedback, questions, comments, things you want us to talk about. Make sure you leave us your name so we can give you credit for contributing to the show. And if you happen to catch us on one of our live shows, enable the chat feature of whatever service you use. Leave comments, questions, anything in there, and we will try to get to as many of those as we can. So, this episode, a lot on the docket. Let's get to it. Tyson Fury versus Brock Lesnar has been the plan for WrestleMania for several months now. Now, with the boxing match coming up, all right, with Wilder, it's now up in the air whether Tyson Fury versus Brock Lesnar actually happens at WrestleMania. As of right this minute, it sounds like those plans are off, and they're looking for an alternate plan probably being set up at the Royal Rumble with Brock Lesnar. Half the reason they're putting him into the Royal Rumble match is so Vince can get a feel for the things going on and determine who the next challenger should be for Brock Lesnar. Now, there is reports of a short list of people that are being considered. One of those being Keith Lee, which was interesting because that's who CM Punk referenced on WWE Backstage. Another conversation has come up about, what do you do? Do you do a thing where Brock Lesnar runs the gauntlet, wins the Rumble, and then challenges The Fiend, which I actually would be very much in favor of. The only problem is I don't really want to unify the championships right now. There's several other plans in place. I know that up until this point, Roman Reigns versus The Fiend has been the going plan for SmackDown. I don't know if people are ready for Roman Reigns to win the Royal Rumble again, though. And that right now, if you go to Vegas, he is the odds-on favorite to win the Rumble. Now, I am still pulling for Edge to show up at the show, eliminate Brock Lesnar at the end, coming in at number 30 and taking that spot and facing Brock Lesnar at Mania. I don't know if that's going to happen, but it is definitely something to keep our eyes on. I still think there's a very real possibility that Edge shows up at the Royal Rumble. Whatever the plan is, we should have a much clearer perspective as to what's going to happen if we pay close attention to this week's Royal Rumble and see what happens in that match. I feel like we're going to see a lot more of the WrestleMania card start to come into focus after that show. Now, when it comes to the SmackDown side of things, it's a little more complicated. There's another Saudi Arabia show going to take place in February. And right now the rumor is it's going to be Kane versus The Fiend in an Inferno match for the Universal Championship. So perhaps a Raw superstar wins the Rumble so that they could set up the Roman Reigns thing later, and that way you're not giving Reigns another Royal Rumble victory. Because those are precious, let's face it. Only a few people in history have won 2 or 3 times, so you don't necessarily want to go that route, but we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Now, The rest of the card for the Royal Rumble, very much unpredictable. There's so much going on. Yes, there's tons of championship matches. Becky Lynch is supposed to retain, and the United States Championship is not supposed to change hands. The Intercontinental Championship is not supposed to change hands. The Women's Championships on both brands are supposed to be safe. But you gotta wonder, where does the excitement come from for this show? If it's just the Royal Rumble matches, they're kind of botching that too. We only know 5 out of the 30 women participating in the match, which, by the way, according to Vegas, Shayna Baszler is the #1 favorite to win the Rumble, which I'd be okay with. She needs to get on the main roster because she's done everything she could possibly do in NXT. But they've got to make a decision, and they got to start promoting these shows. It was reported back in December that Vince McMahon doesn't feel like he has to promote specific matches anymore. He just has to promote the network. Well, that's obviously not working because viewership and live show attendance are down. I understand you're still making tons of money because of your TV deals and whatnot, but you got to still put, as JR used to say, put butts in seats. And that's not happening right now. We need that to happen to be an integral part of the plan. So it'll be curious to see what happens coming out of the Rumble weekend. I'm looking forward to some very exciting surprise entrants and things like that. 22 of the 30 men have been announced. That leaves 8 more spots. Booker T is rumored to be going into the Rumble. I've heard things about CM Punk and Edge and different people like that, even coming out of Raw with Paul Heyman's promo about nobody in the back being able to challenge Brock. Well, CM Punk, Edge, Booker T, none of those guys are in the back. They're not a part of the roster. So they would fit the bill for what they're talking about with Brock Lesnar not having a challenger. Moving on, Chris Jericho's cruise going on right now. He has announced that he will have another cruise next year, triple whammy for the Jericho cruise next year. It'll take place in February, and it looks like they're going to be broadcasting AEW Dynamite live next year. This year it's a taped show. Tonight's show is recorded already, but good stuff coming out of that cruise. It's very successful, and now with the backing of AEW, it could really be an annual, exciting event. Kudos to Chris Jericho for coming up with that idea even before AEW was a thing. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But the show tonight, obviously, for those who are tuning in, you're finding out like Tag Team Championship changing hands for the first time in AEW history. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page winning the Tag Team Championship. I don't know that I would have done that yet. I think it was a good idea to keep the belts on the different respective champions for a little while longer, but I understand it. But it sounds like the show is just absolutely incredible. So hopefully we get to see some more of that tonight, and we'll see what happens in the coming months. They talked about possibly adding 6-man tag team championships at some point. That wouldn't happen until next year's cruise, but definitely excitement around the Jericho cruise, and I think they've done a very good service to the wrestling community. Also announcing AEW Revolution, the main event is, as we expected, Chris Jericho versus Jon Moxley for the AEW Championship. That's a cool match. I can't wait to see that. Hopefully Jericho puts on one of his, clinic matches with Jon Moxley, who is one of the best in the business. So keep your eyes on that. Want to comment? I've got some questions this week. And again, I've got to ask people, if you're going to send me questions, let me do you the favor of giving you a shout out. Tell me your name when you send me questions. But somebody was asking for my reaction to several things related to Impact Wrestling. One being them being banned on Twitch for the Rob Van Dam, Katie Forbes segment. I get it. You have to understand, we can't police every person who's turning on Twitch. And no matter what anybody's personal opinions are, there are young viewers on Twitch playing video games and the like who may pop on and see something. And let's be honest, we're not supposed to be corrupting the morals of minors with a Twitch channel. That's in their terms of service. So I completely understand why they're banned from Twitch because of the Rob Van Dam segment, because if you watched it, they had to blur parts of it because of it being so explicit. So it's their fault. They should have edited that better, reshot whatever they had to reshoot so that they didn't have to worry about Twitch, but they didn't. So they let it go to Twitch. It's their fault. I have no sympathy for that. I don't think wrestling needs those storylines. I really don't. Tessa Blanchard issue with her coming up with all her bullying and potentially racist comments and things. This is not a court of law. It's a court of public opinion. There are people who think she's a raging racist. There's people who argue she's not. She dated Ricochet and she's engaged to Daga. So kind of hard to play the racism card when her last 2 significant others of any importance were both minority representatives and good people. So it's tough. I don't know where to come in on this. What I think is she may just be a brat. a spoiled brat who came up in wrestling royalty with her father, who doesn't know how to shut her mouth. I mean, there's reports about her attitude in various promotions, whether it's Women of Wrestling, where they're talking about how she had issues in season 2 trying to take too much control, to independent bookings, to Japanese bookings, to Impact Wrestling bookings. So I don't know. Hopefully she's going to get this stuff under control, because she is an incredible talent, one of the best in the world, but she really is limited if she can't get the attitude stuff together. Rumor has it that's why WWE didn't sign her back before she went to Impact. It was because of the attitude issues. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. WWE apparently is still completely undecided about all of their premier programs heading into WrestleMania season. Some talents love this because it means that they still have an opportunity to work their way into the card. Some people are thoroughly shocked because they usually have the next year's WrestleMania at least skeletal outlines way back to previous WrestleMania. This year, a lot of what they were planning either didn't turn out, or they changed their minds or shift their focus or whatever it is, and they just don't have a lot etched in stone, which in my opinion this year, probably a good thing. You know, go with the hot hand, figure out what's working, figure out what the fans are tuning into, and then go with that. I'm not sure what that is. I'm a fan, and I don't even know if I know what that is, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. One thing related to WrestleMania that people have been chit-chatting about, Hulk Hogan training for a WrestleMania appearance. He had another surgery. He looks great. He looks old, but he looks great. Wants to get in the ring with Vince McMahon. I don't think that'll happen. I would love to see Hulk Hogan and John Cena get in there and scrap it around a little bit. I don't think we're going to see that either. I don't think Vince will ever let Hulk Hogan wrestle again, just because of his medical situation. But if there was ever going to be a time, this might be the one and only shot they've got at making this happen. Because let's face it, Hulk Hogan is no spring chicken. Guy's 67 years old this year. He can't keep doing this. I say that this a couple days after Jerry Lawler literally wins a championship and saves his career at the age of 70, which was down in Arkansas. He won a championship versus career match, and I actually thought he was going to lose and just stop wrestling. Apparently not. Jerry Lawler at 70, looking like he's still 55, but whatever. But Hulk Hogan, I don't think anybody feels the need to see him in the ring, so we'll have to wait and see. AEW's Dark Order. Apparently there were plans for Marty Scurll to be revealed as the leader of the Dark Order, but now that he's re-signed with Ring of Honor and has such a powerful position with Ring of Honor, those plans apparently are out the window. Now they're kind of scrambling to figure out what they want to do with the leadership of the Dark Order. Who do they want to reveal to be the leader? And all those types of things. And look, whoever's under that mask right now is doing a great job, but I think it's really a shame that they had put plans into play expecting Marty Scurll, and then he goes elsewhere, and now they're kind of stuck. This is where they should not have started something. They didn't have the people under contract already to make it happen. And with Marty Scurll branching out to the NWA and trying to bring different companies together, Ring of Honor, NWA, New Japan Pro Wrestling, it's very unlikely, at least from my perspective, to see AEW work with them. I think AEW, whether people want to accept it or not, they're on another level above those companies right now because of their television exposure in North America, and they're doing a great job of marketing themselves. So I don't think that's going to happen, but not sure what's going to go on with the Dark Order leadership, because I'm sure they're going to have to change around what they were going to do with Marty Scurll re-signing elsewhere. There are some returning stars potentially coming to the Royal Rumble. Jinder Mahal, who's been out of action for a significant period of time, is in Houston. Rumor has it he may be returning to the match. Kane is expected to be in the Royal Rumble. Cain Velasquez, speaking of Cain Velasquez also announced he'll be in the Rumble. And Naomi apparently will be in Houston, ready to go for the Rumble. Not sure if she'll appear, but she is scheduled to be back in the ring very soon, so it could be a surprise entrant, and it still leaves plenty of room for more people to surprise people. So we'll have to keep our eyes on that and wait and see. But Booker T would be the big one. He gave WWE an ultimatum a few weeks ago. WWE filed the trademark for Harlem Heat. He wants a match between Harlem Heat and the Revival, but WWE hasn't made that match happen, or at least they haven't told the public they've made that match happen. I suspect maybe Booker T appears at the Rumble. Maybe the Revival cost him his spot in the Rumble, and that leads to the Harlem Heat match, which I think if you're going to do that, that's another one where these guys aren't going to be spring chickens forever. If you're going to make it happen, you got to make it happen now. The Undertaker this week was at the WWE Performance Center working out with the young folks. People speculate that maybe this is him getting ready for the Royal Rumble. It's possible. It's coming up on WrestleMania season. Maybe he's seeing how he feels. Maybe he doesn't want them to start like a long-term plan for him if he's not going to be able to make it to WrestleMania. We'll have to wait and see. But at least seeing him at the Performance Center tells you either he's helping train young guys, which is great, or he's planning to come back for another match, which in a lot of people's mind is also great. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Not sure who you put him against this year. I don't see anybody standing out as being like the guy you got to put the Undertaker against. So I don't know how they'll work that. Ruby Riott update. She apparently is still not ready to go after the issues with her shoulders and surgery and everything else. They're looking at closer to WrestleMania for her to be back, potentially the Raw after WrestleMania. That injury was very serious. Is keeping her out of action the better part of a year, but she really needs to get back because she's an incredible talent and one that they could really build around going forward. So I don't foresee her being at the Rumble. And then a few signing notes for the week. Kalisto re-signed with WWE. He got an extension. Killer Cross met with Triple H. The former Impact Wrestling star apparently is ready to sign with WWE. Not surprising. His girlfriend is there, Scarlett Bordeaux. I would love to see him in the ring just because he fits the mold of what WWE likes to push, and maybe he'll get a legitimate shot. Brian Cage, rumored to be getting ready to sign with AEW. His Impact Wrestling contract has run out, and he has a torn labrum or something of that nature, so he won't be able to wrestle anytime soon, but it sounds like AEW wants to sign him to lock him up to get him under contract, which would be a huge gain for their company. So I'm curious to see if that becomes official, if that's where he decides to go. And then Lance Archer, New Japan Pro Wrestling superstar, former IWGP United States and Tag Team Champion, also working with AEW on potentially coming to the company and doing some work with them. And then lastly for the evening, bad year already for certain things and happy for others. Thrilled for Jushin Thunder Liger and Manabu Nakanishi, both retiring this year. Liger, one of the most innovative wrestlers in the history of wrestling. Congratulations to him on a great career. It was thrilled to watch him at Wrestle Kingdom's couple nights and his retirement ceremony and things, celebrating his incredible contributions. But then on the sadder side of things, in the past week, Kendo Nagasaki, who I used to watch when I was a kid, passed away. We know that La Parka, not the original La Parka from WCW, La Parka, who is like the newer one, La Parka, the guy from WCW, still wrestles as L.A. Park. But La Parka passing away after sustaining those horrible injuries to his skull after a failed dive out of the ring. And then Rocky Johnson, 75-year-old father of The Rock, passing away all so far in 2020. And it's always a shame. It really is to lose anybody who's a legend in the business. But we just here at the Pro Wrestling Podcast wanted to send out our well wishes, our prayers and thoughts to the families of those wrestlers, and our congratulations to Liger and Nakanishi. Just some great guys in the business, all of them contributing something unique, something powerful. And, I think sometimes we get so caught up in the different storylines that we don't always remember the contributions of some of these older folks who really helped pave the way for the wrestling we see today. That's all the time we have for this episode. Check back with us next episode. We'll run down the latest wrestling news and rumors. Special thanks, as always, goes out to bensound.com and purpleplanet.com. They produce any music or sound we use in our show. Today's podcast is sponsored in part by Beazle Games. Bringing a new friend to family game night is easy with sketchy people. Showcase your artistic side in this game by Beazle Games by going to frowrestling.com and clicking the icon in the middle of the page today. And to alleyrepair.com. Contact Alley Repair for servicing of all your classic skee-ball, pinball, and arcade game needs. If you're looking for your next career move, maybe you're considering college, university life, maybe you just need some formal training for your next career decision, go to our sister website at frolifeplanning.com for all your higher education needs, as Fro Life Educational Planning is for today, for tomorrow, and for life with Fro Life. I'm Fred Froelich, better known as Mr. Fro. I want to thank you for taking a few moments with us today. If you're looking for more wrestling news and rumors, go to www.tsj101sports.com for the latest articles on the world of professional wrestling in all sports. And make sure you check out the indie events tab on frowrestling.com to go to a show near you. Get that one-on-one, up-close and personal feeling you just can't get at a big company show by supporting local indie wrestling. You can ask for nothing better. Till next time, take care, everybody. Have a great night. And this weekend, enjoy the Royal Rumble. Our official pick, We're going with Edge returning to challenge Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship. Till next time, have a great night. Take care. Bye-bye.